We're in Vancouver on unceded Coast Salish territories. Today I'm with Dr. Riki Ott, and we're at an event called Oil Spills in Our Backyard. So you wrote this book, which is called Sound Truths and Corporate Myths, and you were one of the first responders to the Exxon Valdez spill.
I was the second plane to fly out, and I didn't do it as a government or academic. I was commercial fishing at the time. This wake-up spill, what Vancouver did was the right thing. They called in people who have lived with the consequences of these oil disasters. It's one thing to say the beaches are clean, the government's done with the cleanup, industry can go home. But then the people who are living there 2 years, 3 years, 10 years later see the long-term impacts of these spills. So what Vancouver did was they called two of us in who had been through the Exxon Valdez and said, what have you learned? What do we need to do to really beef up our spill plan? And we're horrified to learn all the things they haven't been told about public health dangers, worker harms. The spill prevention and response scenarios are going to be as good as the citizens are active in your community. And what we're hoping from this workshop then is there's some concrete action items that where we can move these ideas that we're starting to learn into next steps, into actual concrete spill response planning, where we really start pushing the burden of these activities, the risk, back onto the oil industry. I went down to the Gulf after the BP disaster thinking, oh my gosh, all those people down there are going to make the same mistakes we made in Cordova, Alaska. Trust us, we will make you whole, says Exxon. Well, they didn't even come close to making us whole. We got paid 10 cents on the dollar 21 years after the fact. That is not made whole. That is an entire generation, difference there. So I realized, somebody's got to go coach the people. And then I realized, that would be me. So I flew down, and I was only going to stay a month. I ended up staying a year. And what people were realizing in the talks that I gave is that this ordinary headache, this cold and flu-like symptom, this nausea, this bloody nose or ear bleeding, that didn't go away, that kept week after week, month after month, it was actually chemical causation. It was from exposure to this oil spill. People were not being told that. I've seen 16-year-olds have grand mal seizures after they went swimming in the Gulf, when the city and the state and the feds were all saying it was safe. And they came back with an orange slime, which is the oil, and these were athletes, there was more than one. So this is a huge shocker that what I've found in community after community, people aren't prepared for an industrial accident. I mean, the workers are trained for these situations, not the ordinary public. The politicians and the industry have not been very honest about the risks, the risks to our water, the risk to our food, the risk to our personal health, the risk to the climate. And I think if more people were aware of these risks in terms of trying to model prevention and response, they're just going to say, you know what? It's too much. This is too much of a risk. I don't want this at all in my backyard. And if enough of us said that, we would be shifting to other energy futures.